What up, though? This is Nation Outside Seeds of Change podcast. I'm your host, Tamir Bell, and we have a very special guest today, my brother, none other than Mr. Lavar Perkins. Welcome, brother. Thank you for joining this show.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So, today, man, I don't know if you know, but April is Second Chance Month. Second Chance is a proclamation that the governor signed that really just uplifts the perspective that system impacted individuals deserve a second chance, meaning they deserve a second chance at housing, they deserve a second chance at employment, they deserve a second chance at in the community, right, to impact not only their lives but the lives of their family and just to have a good fresh start. So I would like to know first and foremost how you perceive or what you think about second chances.
What I perceive about second chance is first off, it's a chance for your freedom, but also it's a new beginning. It's a new beginning to just start over again with a new, fresh mind state, a new heart, a whole new agenda.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to be able to just see life differently than how you seen it maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even 30 years ago. It's just about having a new mind state and ready for just whatever God has in place for you.
Yeah, I know that 30 years ago might have a different meaning for you than most people. And I'm going to let the viewers know that my brother, that system impacted, congratulations. You've been home celebrating a week being home after spending about 30 years of incarceration. So truly this is, in a way, your pure second chance. So how this first week been since you've been home?
Man, it's been a blessing. When you on your bunk, you think about what your freedom what it's going to look like. You put all these thoughts in your head. You ask yourself, like, who's going to be there? Who's not going to be there? You think about who you want to be there, right? So I had all these different thoughts of having all these different people there or who's not going to be there. But it was amazing when I had so much love. I had people that I never expected, that I have never thought about. It's not that I forgot about them, but I just never thought that they would be the ones who would impact me in the way that they have.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's a blessing to have a lot of people and a lot of loved ones to support you. I know you don't take that for granted because I know you personally, and, I didn't take that for granted when I came home. But let's talk about some of the barriers since you've been home that you face that might have that you might see as stumbling blocks to you being productive in this second chance moment that you have.
The only barrier that I have experienced is just the journey on tether.
Mm-hmm.
How that I did 30 years in prison. Now I come home, I'm free, and I have to do 90 months on a tether.
You're free, but you're not free.
Right? So the obstacle is like I'm trying to cram so much in within a small time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I find myself thinking that I'm missing out on certain things or missing out on certain opportunities. So, but I have to slow my pace down, which, even though it may be a barrier, but it has helped me to just pace myself.
Okay. So some kind of unexpected positive consequence on the tether has kind of forced you to slow yourself down.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if that's something that the state thought about.
Right.
But, that is something that even when that tether come off, you're going to have to continue to pace yourself by yourself under your own accord, right?
Absolutely.
It's a lot of people in this world, I can imagine, that believes you don't even deserve a second chance based on your crime and your circumstances, and you don't have to speak. You can speak to that as much or as little as you want. But for individuals that think you shouldn't or didn't deserve a second chance, one, what would you say to them? And can you think of any people in your mind that don't deserve a second chance?
I don't believe that there is no one that doesn't deserve a second chance. for the reason being that we never know their circumstances. And I'm not making excuses for their circumstances. But when, like myself, I was a teenager, I was 17 when I committed my crime. So I wasn't mentally mature to understand the ramifications of the things that I was involved in. I wasn't doing the things that I was doing for a reputation. I was doing things for survival because it was a struggle in my household. However, I allowed that struggle and the frustration that I was feeling through the struggle to cause me to make unwise decisions. And through making those unwise decisions, I hurt a family. I hurt a family deeply to the point where I know they still hold a grudge against me. But however, I strive each and every day not to just prove to them, but to prove to myself as well as prove to the world that I am a changed man. And I'm going to continue to walk my pace, walk these steps every day to demonstrate that change, to demonstrate that I have corrected my incorrigible behavior, to demonstrate that I can become home and be a model citizen to society, that I can be an example, I can be a role model. I don't have children, but children to come, my nephews, my nieces, even my friends, you know what I'm saying, children and stepchildren. I just want to show that situations that we go through, it builds character, and my character has been built through a difficult situation that I created for myself.
What was that character building process like during those 30 years of incarceration? If you could pick out, a couple things or just even your mindset to say, hey, I need to start doing things to put myself in a position to grow my character. Because one day I will be home, and even right in the place that I'm at, I can have a positive impact.
Well, I would start where I was 19 years old. At 19 years old, turning 20, I heard of somebody in prison to the point where it put me in segregation for 2 years. In those 2 years in segregation, I woke up one morning waiting for my breakfast, because breakfast came every morning between 5:30 and 6. So I always just get up, wash my face, brush my teeth before my breakfast came. And I looked in a mirror and I just broke down. And I broke down for the fact, because I used to always tell myself, man, why I'm always getting the short end of the stick? But when I came to reality within myself, I said that I keep reaching for that short end. And I told myself that day forward, it's time for me to make a change. It's time for me to stop grabbing that short end of that stick. So I really started keying on getting my education. I didn't have no GED. I didn't have the high school diploma. So I said, man, first thing first, let me obtain my GED.
That's right.
So once I obtained my GED, I started to read books, history books. I started associating myself around individuals whose minds was focused on education, who was focused on reading, who was focused on bettering themselves. So I allowed myself to be involved with those type of individuals, which have impact and guided me down the path that I am on right now.
Yeah, that's what's up. Sound like to me, you just looked in the mirror and kept it 100 with yourself. Yeah. Right? That short end of the stick always there. Yeah. You ain't always got to grab it.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
And your change of circumstances came with your change of mindset and the change of the company you keep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
so that's where the growth start. And I know it's a lot of people that may hear this that need to hear that.
Yes.
Along with that crowd of people, quite possibly, man, your victim's family and maybe your victim itself themselves may hear you on this podcast. In light of Second Chance Month, and me being a person that strongly believes that second chances are not only possible, but they should be mandatory. What would you say if you knew that your victims and their family and that part of the community that you impacted were listening to you? If you had anything to say to them, what would you say?
I would just ask for forgiveness. I know forgiveness is a difficult thing to obtain or to display. I just want them to know that I'm a new man. I'm a new man. Like I'm delivered. You know, I'm not trying to sound religious, but it's always a saying that I'm a new man in Christ. I have a new focus, have a new understanding. Um, so I just ask for that forgiveness. Just give me a chance. And I can't change the situation. I can't change what happened 30 years ago, but I can show and prove who I am right now. You know, so I'm just looking for just that forgiveness.
Yeah. Have you forgiven yourself?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. You deserve it.
Yep.
Forgive yourself. We can't move forward unless we forgive ourselves,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And I believe anybody that uh, gives you the opportunity to show and prove, it ain't no doubt
Mm-hmm.
that you're gonna stand tall and above the rest, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because that's my experience with you.
Mm-hmm.
A big part of why I changed and started reforming my ways
Mm-hmm.
happens after our relationship, right? And meeting you. So I want to thank you for that. And I guess kind of in closing, the last thing that I really want to leave with is um, kind of in light of Second Chance Month, and again thinking about second chances, uplifting second chances. Uh, what would you want the Department of Corrections to know, the governor to know about the importance of second chances?
That's a good question. What I would just want the governor or the MDOC to understand that their job isn't just to police, to be a security guard, or this is more or less is that you have people's lives in your hand. A lot of us been damaged, and we come from damaged environments. So we don't know, or we haven't been trained or taught to see things differently. We don't know how to act different than what we experience. So my whole thing is I would like for the system to be more sympathetic, more empathetic, more understanding, be more patient, right? And to instill um their journey. Apparently, if they work for these institutions, apparently it was something about them that put them in a positive and a productive situation that where they were able to come inside, right, and to be able to do this job, right. Somebody entrusting them to do this job, right. So by you being entrusted into doing this job, I feel like it's imperative that you have empathy, right, sympathy, and understanding the prisoners, because a lot of us don't know. A lot of us never had a job. A lot of us never experienced a positive and a productive household. A lot of us never learned being considerate or understanding or respectful. All we understand is what the worlds or the streets or the things that we was involved in, right? And we was looking for those things in those places, but however, it stripped who we naturally are, right? So, in closing and saying that, I would just ask that they would just be more show more empathy and be more patient, with the guys.
Yeah, I was around some hierarchical people in the MDOC yesterday, and something I left, I made sure I dropped on them before they left. It's like, hey, remind the people that work in here that they are some of the most impactful people in the lives of the people who are incarcerated.
Absolutely.
We see them more than we see our family members.
Yes, yes.
And sometimes they're our first and only view at what a professional is like, right? What a person of character is supposed to be like, a person of power. And a lot of times in situations where you're a minority, this is like your closest opportunity to see what a person of a different race is like.
Yeah, yeah,
So what kind of impact you want to leave on them, right? What kind of culture you want to set for them.
absolutely.
So I appreciate you coming, bro.
Yeah,
I
thank
appreciate the words, and keep walking in your second chance.
you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the time and the opportunity. I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. No doubt about it.